Today we'll be talking about Kivy, which is a tool in Python that allows you to create apps for things like iPhones, Androids, and other devices. In fact, you can also use it to create applications both for Windows, Linux, as well as Mac operating system sort of computers. So, in fact, today what we'll do is apply Kivy for a Mac OS X environment as an example of how to create an application. But I will also talk briefly about what you can do to use something like Kivy to create apps for mobile devices. It's essentially the same process as you would for a desktop kind of environment. Of course, just the main difference being it's essentially another operating system for a different type of computer. So the process is kind of similar. Similar techniques can be used, and there's actually multiple techniques that can be used. So I will briefly discuss that, but since I do have a Mac computer, I will be primarily using my Mac as a way to demonstrate how one would go about doing that in Kivy. So what we're going to do is look at a program called it's called Pictures. It's here on my window in using Eclipse. So once again, Eclipse is our primary environment. So go ahead and open Pictures, which is the week 10 folder or week 10 example of using Kivy. And in that, you will notice there is a main.py. That will be the main sort of Python module we'll be using today, which will then create the app that we're going to do. The app is very simple. It simply creates a little application that allows you that brings up some images, and we can sort of flip the images around, play around with them a little bit. So the application itself is not sophisticated. This is more of a lesson on how you go about then creating that code into something that can be deployed so that it can be used as is, rather than sitting as code that has to be run on some kind of development environment or some kind of particular runner like Python or interpreter, essentially. Okay, so we'll essentially talk about how one can go about creating an independent standing package software for this week.